What's up, my friends? Welcome back to the Action After. And this week we're talking about you-know-who, Mr. Joshua Dean Church's Action After item, which was very simply, my friends, that the world is conspiring for you. All right, I want you to hear that. I know in last week's episode, or this week's, a few days ago, depending when you listen to it, Josh spoke a lot about how the world is conspiring for you. You just got to be willing to look for it. And as soon as you look for it, everything in your life will start to almost magnetically shift in your favor. So this week, as we dive into the Action After, we're going to be looking at 3 separate ways that you can start to tap into the world conspiring for you. Now, the first one is you're going to want to take, let's say, 5 minutes here. And I would encourage you, if you can, to physically write this down. If you don't have a pen and a note paper, get your note section on your phone and do it there as well. But the first part of what we're going to be doing here is building your belief. And the reason that I say building your belief is step 1 is because the honest truth is, sometimes in life, we have all the tools, you may have all the strategies, you may have all of the know-how to accomplish the thing that you want to accomplish, but because you do not have the belief, it doesn't actually get done. And I really want you to hear that. Sometimes you know exactly what you need to do to achieve the result, the life, the goal that you have for yourself, but because you don't have the belief that you can do it or that it's possible, nothing ever happens, right? So really where we must start is the first thing we got to shift into belief. We got to shift into you knowing that this can actually happen for your life. And the way that we're going to start to shift your belief in step 1 of the Action After is you are going to make a list of a few times in your life where you had a coincidence that all of a sudden turned into something meaningful later in your life. All right, again, you're going to make a list of what was 1 or 2 or 3 coincidences that you had in your life that now if you look back on it, you go, man, that actually happened because I needed to learn this, or that happened because it made me meet this person. And that by itself could only be explainable by saying that was the world having your back. All right, one example that I'll share with all of you is when I was in high school, one of my goals for my life was I wanted to become a professional skateboarder. I was like, this is the thing. I want to, get really good at this. I want to be paid for this. This is like what I want to do. And while I was going to high school, one day while I was skateboarding, I tore my ACL, my meniscus, right? Basically an injury that messes with your skateboarding career, right? Obviously, if you're driven enough, you come back from that. But for me, I got injured and it was a major, what felt like crappy thing that happened in my life, I guess would be the simplest way to explain it. This messed with the goal that I had, the vision that I had, the dreams that I had. But as I look back on my life today, I actually have realized that if I never tore my ACL, if I never got injured, I would have never worked as hard to get into the college that I ultimately got into, which changed my life. Right? Now, another random coincidence you could say that happened is when I was going to college, I was very in tune with, I want to start a business of some sort. I want to do it in skateboarding. I want to find a way to do this. And lo and behold, one day I was walking to the gym and I bumped into this random guy who had a skateboard, whose name ended up being Boss, and literally who became one of my best friends today, someone that I went on to work on starting a skateboard company, but then turned into another company that we built for 4 years. We traveled the world together. It changed my life. And meeting Boss was only something that I can say to myself was the world conspiring in my favor, right? Meeting the random person at that random time that would go on to impact my life in such a big way. So hopefully, as you hear some of my stories, you're starting to find out for yourself what were some coincidences that happened that later led to something meaningful in your life. All right, so take a few minutes, write those things down. And again, you want to write them because as you write them, it actually sends neurons to your brain. It creates new neurological pathways, right? So this isn't just do it because Stu says do it, but if you really want to take it to the next level, neuroscience actually backs some of these things. All right, so that's step one. Hopefully you maybe pause the audio. If you haven't, pause it now and go do the exercise. Now, once you are back, the second thing that we're going to do in this week's action after is going to be a simple change of focus and language. And what I mean by that is as you go throughout your life over the next 48 hours, I want you to act, just like Joshua said, as if the world is conspiring in your favor. For some of you, what this may look like is even over the next 48 hours, wake up in the morning and maybe the first one or two things you say to yourself is, the world conspires in my favor. And you just say that. Just say it a few times. Wake up and go, today the world conspires in my favor. Today the world conspires in my favor. And as you start to say some of these things, embody them and really make it a focus over the next 48 hours, I promise you magical things are going to start to happen in your life if you truly believe it. Right? That's why we did step one, to grow the belief that you said, okay, this happened in my past, that when I had something, the world brought me an answer. So step two is, now that you got the belief, you go, okay, I'm going to change my lens to saying, I'm going to walk through life as if the world conspires in my favor. All right, that's step two, kind of a simple shift in focus. And then the third action after item, again, sort of a shift in focus, is I want you to ask yourself, part one, are you currently focusing on things that you don't have in your life? Or are you focusing on things that you want to create in your life? Right? Sometimes what happens is we're trying to find our life and we go, well, I don't have this, I don't have the other, I don't have this thing and that and this and this. And we focus so much on what we don't have that where focus goes, energy flows. So because you focus on the things you don't have innately, sorry friend, but you're going to get more of the things that you don't want. So what you got to do here is you got to shift your focus on the things you do want, on the things you do have, on the things you do want to create in your life. And what you're going to start to notice is where focus goes, energy flows. So as you focus on, well, I want this thing in my life, I want to do more of this. And again, maybe you don't have the perfect picture right now of everything you want, but you go, I know I want to do something in this realm. And if you shift your focus to that, and one thing Josh said that I think is such a like steroid injection in this process is not only focusing on what you want, but focus on the feeling that you would have once you get there. And if you can focus on what you want, and you can focus on the things you want to bring into your life, and if you can focus on the feeling that you would get when you get to that place of having the thing that you want, if you can really focus on that energy and that focus and that intent, again, the world is going to start to conspire in your favor. All right, so that is going to be the action after for this week, my friends. Very simple. Number one is you're going to go create a list of what were at least one, maybe two, maybe three, maybe even more, depending how deep you want to go in here. But what were a few times where the world conspired in your favor, or a quote unquote coincidence happened, and it led to something meaningful in your life? That's step one. Step two is shift your focus over the next 48 hours to the world is conspiring in your favor. Right? Shift as if the world is conspiring in your favor over the next 48 hours. And then the third and final part is stop focusing on the things you don't want and start focusing on the things that you do want. Start focusing on the things that you want to create in your life, you want to bring into your life. And if you want to add that steroid injection to it, focus on the feeling that you would feel when you are in that place of creating that thing you want in your life. All right, so go out there, my friends, execute on these things. You're going to freaking crush it. I'm so excited for you. And other than that, that's all we got for the action after this week with my man, Joshua Dean Church. And other than that, everybody have a phenomenal, beautiful rest of your day. And I will see you on the podcast next week. Take care.